Is there such a thing as matter, or is matter energy? Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Kevlan, and in today's video I want to highlight 5 facts derived from science and quantum physics in particular that show that you are much more than what you think you are. Let's get started. Number 1. Space is not empty. We live in a 3D reality that is made up of space for the most part. Science says that 99.9999% of our reality is just space. If we look at the galactic level, for example, we can see tremendous amount of space separating planets and stars and galaxies and on and on. At the human scale, it's also fairly obvious to see that space is separating objects and people and plants and animals, and that could go on and on and on. While you may think that a rock is a very tangible and solid object, if you were to magnify this rock using an electron microscope, for example, you will see that this rock is made of space for the most part. At the quantum scale, it's no different. Science said that tiny particles such as photons, atoms, electrons are made up of space at 99.9999%. What scientists are also saying is that space is not empty, but is in fact filled with a very subtle energy field called the quantum vacuum energy field, or the zero-point energy field in quantum physics. This is not a new discovery, as this was mentioned in ancient texts for thousands of years, where they were saying that energy is the fabric of the universe, and they were calling this life force or this energy prana or chi, for example, depending on the culture. So science is only catching up with this fact that everything is energy and matter is just an illusion. If space is 99.999% of our reality, and this energy field and this space is filled with this energy field, it means we are a 99.9999% energy being and not material being. Number 2. Change and movement are the constant of this universe. We live in a reality where everything is constantly moving or constantly in motion through space. Again, if we look at the galactic level, for example, one more time, we can see that planets and stars and galaxies and even the universe itself is moving through space. At the human scale, the same thing applies. We can see weather system, for example, the ocean, rivers are constantly flowing. Even the weather is constantly changing, the seasons are constantly changing, and even our own biology, like the blood, is constantly flowing. So movement is really the balance of the universe, even at the human scale. If we look at the quantum scale, it's the same thing. What science is saying is that tiny quantum particles such as atoms, electrons, photons are constantly spinning due to their inherent polarities. And we can even say they are vibrating at very specific frequencies. So everything in this universe is in constant motion, constant movement, constantly changing. And again, this is not a new knowledge, as ancient civilizations and ancient texts presented this idea that everything was constantly vibrating. If you check, for example, the hermetic principle of vibration, they're teaching that everything in this universe is constantly vibrating at specific frequencies. And it's funny to see that we as human beings are so afraid of change, whereas it's a natural state of creation. We should be afraid of stagnation, we should be afraid of the comfort zone, we should be afraid of apathy and not change. Food for thought. Number 3, there is a continuous energy exchange between what we call matter and the energy field. Our reality is organized following very specific pattern, and one of the pattern is the double torus pattern. As you can see in your screen, at the center of this double torus, there is a point where everything emerges from and everything is going back to. This point in science is called the singularity. So in this pattern, everything is emerging from the singularity and then goes back to the singularity at the speed of light, creating the illusion of a tangible material world where in fact it's just energy emerging from this singularity and going back to this singularity at the speed of light. And because it's emerging from the singularity and going back to the singularity, there is a continuous exchange of information between the internal world that we call the singularity in this case and the external world that we call our material reality. In ancient teaching, in ancient esoteric knowledge, the singularity was described as oneness, is described as source or universal consciousness or even God. This is where everything, all the creation are emerging from and then all the creation are going back to at the speed of light. So because of this constant loop of information, this constant exchange of information and energy, it means we are not separated from creation, but we are in part fully integrated with it. Number 4, observation is creation. In the quantum field or at the quantum level, many experiments have shown that the observer has an influence over the outcome of an experiment. So what it means is that at the quantum level, in the energy world, every possibility, every potential, every outcome exists, and they all have a very specific frequency. When the observer, with the act of interpretation of his world, is able to match or tune into a specific frequency, matching a specific outcome, it will just collapse this outcome and make it manifest in a 3D reality. So this is, again, very profound because it means we are co-creating our reality billions of times per second without even knowing it. By sending a signal, and again, when we go back to this double torus geometry, is from oneness emerges the double torus with all the information. And our own consciousness or our own perception of our environment are going to create ripples in that torus field. And then when the torus is going to go back to oneness, it's going to send the information that we send to that torus field. And then from oneness is going to emerge again, matching basically the signal, matching the vibration, matching the frequency we send to oneness. So there is a continuous exchange of information between oneness and our world. So we continuously co-creating our reality, whether we are aware of it or not. And this was known by ancient civilizations, and this was taught, and one of the knowledge was the law of attraction, for example, or the principle of resonance, or the principle of vibration, where we basically not victim of circumstances, but we are co-creating our reality billions of times per second. I will be talking more about this law of attraction in future videos, but for now, let's move to number 5. Matter is just a hologram. To illustrate this fact, I want to describe an experiment that was conducted 50 years ago. Imagine you're holding 3 pebbles in your hands, and at the same time you're going to drop those pebbles in a body of water contained underneath. As soon as the pebbles are going to reach the water, they're going to create ripples or a 3D geometric shape in the water. Just imagine now you can flash freeze the water, the surface of the water, and you're going to create this ice containing the ripples and the geometric shape produced by the pebbles. Now you take a coherent light and you point it towards, like a laser, and you point it towards the ice. What you will see on the other side of the ice is the 3D hologram of the 3 pebbles that were dropped in the water. So it means the information about the pebbles are contained in the water, so the ripples or the geometric shapes you see in the water contained all the information about the pebbles, and when you're able to apply a coherent light, you're going to see a hologram of this information contained in the water. So if we go back to our own reality, the water is a quantum field, and the ripples is our own electromagnetic field that we send to the quantum field, creating ripples in the quantum field. When this energy is getting denser and denser and reaching the speed of light and reaching the visible light spectrum, you're going to see a hologram of this field of information. So our body, or the material world as we see it, is just a hologram of a field of information contained or beyond space and time. We are not our body. We are this information beyond space and time. And the body is just a holographic expression of this field of information. Just imagine now if we can access this field of information and change the pattern. If we can change the pattern, then we will change the holographic expression of this pattern in the visible light. So this is profound. I'll be talking more about how to access this field of information and change the pattern so that we can change matter or change the hologram in future videos. If you like this content, if you like this topic, I invite you to check out my book on Amazon, The Science of Breaking Free. I'll leave the link down below in comment. Also, if you like this content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Please use the button down below. Share the video with your friends and family. Like the video, it always helps with the YouTube algorithm. And for now, I'll see you next time.